Hello, what an exciting day today to be here. I'm Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and I am really excited because today's launch day. It's kind of our last launch day of 2024. We have a charity auction that'll come up in November. But yeah, and which will involve a few like small new products, but very charity focused. So today is a big day for our big launch day, including the Apiary, expanding the Hive expansion to Apiary, along with our new game, our final new game of 2024, Stamp Swap. Someone just asked in the comments, how many copies did we make? Which is kind of relevant because we individually numbered every copy of the game. And we did make 23,000 copies of Stamp Swap. And every one of the first printing is individually numbered with that quantity and with a number on the box as well. Yeah, I love launch day, and I love launch day in particular because I know that if you order either of these games or either of these products today, and ideally both of them, if you're curious about both of them, you'll get a shipping notification within a few weeks, maybe even within a few days if you're a Stonemaier champion, and our fulfillment centers are particularly fast. And so you're going to be able to get these on the table within a few weeks, and we can actively talk about them and talk about your experiences with them on the table. So that's why I get so excited about launch day now, that I know that we can share these products with you and that you can have them in your hands within a few days, a few weeks. I see a lot of friendly faces here today. Some nice shout outs to Joe from Joshua. Thank you all for being here. I'm excited to be here. If it's your first time joining a live stream, as sometimes it is for these newsletter days, welcome. I hope you are doing well. And I'm Jamey from Stonemaier Games. I'm part of the Stonemaier Games team here, and you are welcome to say anything you want in the comments, as long as it's respectful of the other people in the comments. And you're also able to ask me anything. If you have anything that you want to know about any non-spoiler thing, pretty much, but feel free to ask. I'll let you know if it's a spoiler, about anything Stonemaier Games related, about these particular games, Stamp Swap, Apiary, Expanding the Hive, about me, about anything you want. I'm happy to answer any question that you have here today. And I have a few topics that I can throw out there as well to talk about some other topics. In fact, I have some questions of the day today. Austin says that today happens to be National Newspaper Carrier Day. You don't need stamps from newspapers, but it's a funny coincidence. Yeah, that is a nice coincidence. I've heard from a number of people really who work for the post office, the USPS, at least in the US, maybe a few from non-US organizations, similar organizations, say that they are really excited about Stamp Swap. That's been really neat to hear. So I've heard from people who are either stamp collectors, were stamp collectors as a kid, or actively work for the post office, which, yeah, I'm excited about the intersection of all those different things. Aaron says that we are shirt buddies today. Yeah, I'm wearing the Stonemaier Games convention shirt. So if you own this shirt, you're part of a small number of people who have represented the Stonemaier Games at a convention. Also today, for Stonemaier champions, you know this as a champion, that the new 2024 Stonemaier champion shirt is available on our web store now too. It is something that you can look for and find if you're not a champion, but we make the shirts specifically for Stonemaier champions. Mark says, is it too early to ask about chocolate of the day? I have not had any chocolate yet today, Mark. But and I know it's very late where you are. You probably had chocolate today sometime. But my chocolate of the day today, what will it be? I started eating a chocolate peanut butter cupcake yesterday. And I try not to eat an entire cupcake all in one sitting anymore. So I break it up into 2 or 3 days. And so today will be part 2 of my chocolate peanut butter cupcake. I think that'll be my chocolate of the day today. Nicole says, thanks again for the quick announcement and retail release. It is a nice reprieve from the Kickstarter timelines. Thanks, Nicole. I appreciate you saying that. And I should clarify a little bit that our launch does happen a little bit in advance of our retail release. So the stages of release for us, and right now in particular, is today is the launch of these products. We're shipping actively to customers starting probably tomorrow. It might be, for most fulfillment centers, it'll be early next week when they start shipping. And then we'll have Apiary, Expanding the Hive, and Stamp Swap available at Essen Spiel in early October. And then the retail release is in late October. The reason they're spread out a little bit like that is that whenever we have a new product like this, retailers need a little bit of time to get orders from their customers and to then send those orders to distributors And the distributors need time to process all those orders to make sure they have the right quantities from us, and then to get those games to all retailers so all retailers can have them for the same day, because it's not really fair if one retailer gets games early. That's why we have retail release days, so all retailers have an even playing field. So yeah, that's why we stagger the release a little bit. Cactus Jactor has a nice comment about Joe as well. Joe is one of my coworkers. He is very active on a day like today, answering a lot of questions from people. If you ever have a question that you think might benefit other people from knowing, it's great to post it publicly, whether it's in a chat like this or it's in the Facebook group, on Board Game Geek, on our website. If you have a private question, as was the case here with Cactus Jactor, about your order, then we're here to help. Yeah, so just wanted to delineate those two things. Ian says, are there ambassador shirts in Canada? So I'm talking about the Champion t-shirt that is on our web store today. And the Champion t-shirt it kind of has stamps on it. I wore it yesterday, but not today. It's a stamp-based pattern. It's a bright teal shirt. The ambassador shirts are a different thing. They are orange t-shirts, and they are generally available on most web stores. Usually we have them in stock. This year we made a polo, so it's either a polo or a t-shirt. And in most sizes, they should be available on most stores. If you search the stores by shirt, you should be able to find them on our web stores. Cactus Jactor has a pitch meeting with the publisher today. Any last minute advice? Stay focused. I would say stay focused on what makes your game special and memorable. Remember that publishers probably see a lot of different submissions. And so if you tell them too much, then they're probably not going to walk away with any one particular thing sticking with them. So try to stay focused on like 1, 2, or 3 really special, unique elements of your game and focus on them in the explanation, in the pitch. That's my opinion. Luke says, I really appreciated Connie's expansion thoughts. Yeah, we did a design diary for Apiary expansion. There are only a few posts about it because it's an expansion. It's a more stuff expansion. But Connie had some great insights, I thought, and I appreciate you echoing that, Luke. Luke says, I totally agree with her. While a new thing can be exciting to think about, enhancing what's in the core game gets much more play and allows me to teach and play with people way more easily. This is about the idea that Apiary is mostly a more stuff expansion. You're just shuffling stuff in and playing. And really, I love expansions like this, where I don't have any new rules overhead that I need to learn. I know I don't always do that. Like sometimes I do things with expansions, like with the Expeditions expansion, where I add some new things that I think might aid or improve the gameplay, improve the experience. And we do that with more stuff expansions too. But yeah, I played the published version of the Apiary expansion for the first time. So I have an empty box here because it's all shuffled into Apiary. And it was so nice just to be able to shuffle stuff in with 3 people who already knew the game, and we played, no problem. We just played the game, and it was awesome. So, and it also, I think, more stuff makes it easier when you want to teach a game to new players, because you don't have to separate out anything that doesn't make sense or that's too complicated for new players. I think that's really nice, in my opinion. Peter says, I recently bought Fit to Print, which is a real-time tile placement game in Art Society. Stamp Shop appears to be similar to these games, but different enough to warrant a purchase, I think. I think so too, Peter. I think it's actually significantly different than those 2 games. All 3 involve a tile placement puzzle, but there are lots of games with tile placement puzzles. But yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts after you get to play Stamp Swap to see how it compares to the other 2 games. Oh, Mark says he did get a chocolate of the day. A bar of dark chocolate mixed with Himalayan salt. That sounds really good, Mark. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll down to see if there are any questions right now. Here's one. Marlene says, how is Walter? How are you feeling with your surgery healing journey? Thank you for asking about that, Marlene. Walter is doing well. He plopped on the bed before I went live here, and he is enjoying some time with Megan. Megan was out of town for a few days, and so Walter is being curious and cuddly, and it'd being really cute with Megan right now. Healing after surgery. I did play disc golf again this weekend. I was careful. I played again a short course where I was trying not to use my core too much, and I'm feeling good. I am still super aware of lifting too much, of making sudden twisting motions. That's when I really feel it the most, when I'm like walking one way and reaching for something, or like looking the other way. So I'm trying to be careful of that. This is in reference to an appendectomy that I had recently that I'm still healing from. But I feel good. I feel really good. Yeah. Julio says, do you deck out or deluxify the games in your collection? If so, which ones and why? It's pretty rare that I do. And part of the reason is that I have a lot of deluxe things from Stonemaier Games that I can use for pretty much any game. Like I have a lot of metal coins. I have realistic resources, an abundance of realistic resources. Those are maybe the main two things that I have. I have little trays and cartons and things like that when I want them. So it's very rare that I do that for a game. In fact, I'm the guy on Kickstarter, when Kickstarter pledge levels have like the normal version of the game and the deluxe version, and the deluxe version has 2,000 backers and the normal version has like 20 backers. I'm usually one of those 20 people because I just want to play the game. I just want to experience the game. I do like deluxe things. And there are times where the price is right, where I'm like, okay, well, it's only $10 more. I'm getting all this stuff. I'll do that. But it's pretty rare. Yeah. So it's pretty rare that I do that. That question is open to anybody, though. Do you ever have, for what games have you really decked out and deluxified? And did you do it right away at the beginning? Or did you do it over time as you realized, hey, I really like this game enough that I want to add these additional elements to it? Luke says, is there a free shipping threshold for the US? There is. We don't advertise it all that much because it's a little finicky. The reason it's finicky is because it's $125, but for champions, Stonemaier champions who get a 20% discount on everything, it amounts to $100 because that's a 20% discount. So if you're a Stonemaier champion and you're logged in as a champion, the free shipping threshold should work as $100. It's also a little finicky because that currency amount is different on every web store. That's why it's one of those things that we don't really advertise. It's just something that you can sometimes stumble into when you're ordering a lot of things on our web store. I can say today, though, if you order the Apiary expansion and you add Stamp Swap to your cart at checkout, you will see an additional 10% discount on Stamp Swap, in addition to the champion discount and the sales price of Stamp Swap. Yeah. Devil's Treasure says, I selected checkout with Venmo. Interesting. I don't even think we have Venmo as an option on our web store. Venmo, to my knowledge, is not active on our web store. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, maybe try a different payment system because using Venmo on our web store is unfamiliar to me. Yeah. I'm sorry you're having trouble with that, though. And yeah, hopefully you can have another payment system. Christy says, do you have plans to bring Apiary to the App Store? Good question, Christy. So Apiary has been available for about a year now on the tabletop. So now is around the time that we start to talk to digital developers about putting it on places like making a digital version or making a board game arena version. And it requires a developer to be interested in that investment. And so currently we are feeling that out with Board Game Arena to see if they are interested, if they have a developer who wants to put the time and effort into bringing Apiary to Board Game Arena. Currently, we don't have a full digital app version in the works for Apiary. But we are certainly open to it if there's a developer interested in doing that. Let's see. Just scrolling through looking for questions real quick while I catch up and throw out some time. And while I'm doing this, why don't I show you or throw out there one of my questions of the day today. I have a few other topics that I'll cover. Oh, and I don't want to forget this. I'll mention it twice, hopefully. Man vs. Meeple has an advanced copy of Stamp Swap, and they are doing a live stream playthrough of it today, right after this live cast. So I'm saying this right now at around 10:15 a.m. St. Louis time, at 11 a.m. St. Louis time. So right after this live cast is over, Man vs. Meeple will start their live stream. So you can join them live and ask questions and see how they're playing Stamp Swap, see how they're enjoying it. And of course, that video will be available in the future as well if you're watching this video in the future. But yeah, if you want to join the live part, that'll happen right after this video ends. I'll try to remember to say that at the end of this video as well, so you can hop right over to the Man vs. Meeple YouTube channel to see that live stream. One of the questions for the day. Oh, let's see. Yeah, okay. I'll say one of the questions for today. Let me start with the fun one because there are two that are a little bit more controversial. So I'll start with the fun one. The fun one is I'd like to do a video soon about benefit pairing or it's also called Entangled benefits. And I have a decent list, but I don't know if it's fully up to a top 10 list at this point. So what I'm looking for are games where in the public display, whenever you're choosing to gain something, whether that something is cards, tiles, tokens, that they are paired with one another. The classic example, probably the best known example, is Cascadia. In Cascadia, you have random pairings in the global supply of a tile and a token. And they're randomly paired. And so whenever you're gaining something, you're gaining two things at the same time, and it's a random pairing of the two things. I'd love to hear your favorite game with benefit pairing or entangled benefits like this. Yeah. And ideally, I'm looking for games that have this on an ongoing basis. I can think of plenty of examples, and I've even done a video about games where this choice happens once at the beginning of the game, like with Scythe. In Scythe, you have a player mat and a faction mat that are randomly paired together. You can do a draft at the beginning of the game where they're randomly paired. In Expeditions, we have the same thing. There's a random pairing like this in Expeditions that you can do at the beginning of the game. I'm not looking for that so much. I'm looking for ongoing, during the game, benefit pairings of tiles, tokens, cards, whatever it may be. If you have a game that you can think of, or a favorite game that you can think of that does this, let me know in the comments. I'll bring up the more gritty topics in a few minutes. My coworker Susanna is popping in to say that Quacks is a game that I love, Quacks of Quedlinburg, and she decided to deluxify later after she found how much she loved the game with the Board Game Geek upgraded bits and the boxes that hold each ingredient or recipe card. It's so delightful to play with the clacky tokens. I absolutely agree with that, Susanna. Yeah. It's really hard to go back to the cardboard tokens in Quacks after going to the clickety-clackety tokens, whether they're wood or plastic. Yeah, I agree. Aaron says, I'm surprised there are not official upgraded resources for Wingspan. Let me explain why, Aaron, and you may not be so surprised. We could have done this early on. We certainly could have made fancy upgraded resources for Wingspan, but we didn't at the beginning. We didn't know if people would care about that sort of thing for Wingspan. The first printing of Wingspan was 10,000 copies, so we didn't know if there would be demand for something like that. But third-party companies, after Wingspan took off, started making a lot of different tokens for Wingspan, which they are welcome to do as long as they follow our guidelines, which is that they can't use Wingspan art and icons. They can't pretend like it's an official Stonemaier product. Those are pretty much the two things. Do those two things, it's totally fine. And part of that is not you putting the Wingspan trademark. Like you can say like these are for Wingspan. You can't say Wingspan tokens. Like it's a trademark name. You can't quite do that. But inspired by Wingspan, tokens primarily used for Wingspan. That's totally fine. So once all these third-party companies started doing it, we realized that we appreciated them doing that, making these nice tokens, and that if we started to make our own tokens after all these companies had already done it, that it really wouldn't be all that nice to these third-party creators who had invested their time and energy and creativity into making these tokens. So that's why we don't do it. Maybe we'll change our mind about that someday, because I think the market is big enough for multiple players, as we can see from the third-party companies that make these nice tokens. But yeah, that's the reason why we don't do it. And that's why for Wormspan, we made our own tokens out of the gate. We wanted to say, okay, we're establishing that we are going to make our own tokens. If other creators want to make their own tokens too, they can, but they can see that Stonemaier Games has official tokens. They can base their decision off of that. Yeah, that's why we do it. Let's see. Steve says, question for the Apiary expansion. Are there any new dances? There are new dances. So there are new dance tiles, 3 new dance tiles, and a bunch of new dance tokens. How many new dance tokens are there? 6 new dance tokens. So you can create even more creative dances in Apiary now. Seeing a bunch of people answer the types of games that they've decked out. Matthew says, and I should be answering the part of the question that I'm the most interested about is if you do it right away or if you do it after you realize that you already love the game. I need to be paying attention to that part of the answer. Matthew says, speaking of apps, what is the timeline to add Stamp Swap to the Stonemaier scoring app? I think it might be today. I've been working with a developer over the last couple of days, and he submitted it to the App Store yesterday. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for Android than iOS, but I think I saw it approved on iOS today. So if you update your free Stonemaier Score app today, or if you go get the Stonemaier Score app, Stamp Swap should be on it right now, as far as I can tell. feel free to double check that, Matthew. Maybe let us know in the livecast if I'm saying that correctly. Mark has a nice comment about making our games accessible at reasonable prices for all gamers across the world. That additional bundle discount really helps a lot in these trying times. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, we try to offer a good value for our games and our products. And I'm going to do a blog post actually probably tomorrow about why we're doing one of the reasons why we're doing these two products at the same time. And a big part of it is because if you are someone who wants both the Apiary expansion and Stamp Swap out of the gate, if you're an early adopter, you want these things right away, it's much more cost effective for you to order them together and ship them together, in particular the cost of shipping, than to ship them separately. Yeah. Aaron says, would harmonies count for Entangled benefits or Azul? I don't think Azul would. I can see how it's in the right track, but I guess with Entangled benefits, I'm generally talking about two different things. But maybe I don't have to limit it to that. And then harmonies. With harmonies, you are gaining. Played this recently. What are you gaining on a given turn on harmonies? You're generally gaining either a card. No, what are you gaining in harmonies? Oh, okay. In harmonies, it's like Azul. You're gaining multiple tokens from a pool. That's what you're gaining. Kind of. Yeah, I guess it's in the right area. I'm more interested in two different types of benefits that are paired, but I agree that those are adjacent to the same category. Cactus Tractor says, does Dwarf Romantic count where you take a quest tile and then a quest number separately? If it's two different decisions, I would say no, it doesn't count. But if a specific quest, and which is the case in Dwarf Romantic, but if it is a specific quest number paired randomly with a specific quest tile, that would be what I'm looking for with benefit pairings and Entangled benefits. Joshua says, would you count food tokens being paired with the start player token in Agricola? I think Uva does this in things like this a lot. It's adjacent. It's certainly related. Those benefits are paired together. Yeah. I think you all are coming up with some good examples of related games to what I'm looking for. The Lost Ruins of Arnak research track. Yeah, those are paired. At least part of it is random. That's true. I guess it should be relevant when one part is random and the other part isn't random. I need to be taking notes about this as we're talking about this. Let's see. Random. Where do I have my notes about benefit pairings? Where did I put it? I have a big list. I use Trello for lists like this. Here we go. Yeah, Azul, harmonies, Arnak. Yeah, I'll keep this running list if you have some other ideas. Agricola was the one that I did not type out. Mark says, does Rondell pairing in Praga Kaput Regni count? You get to choose a benefit between two options, and it's paired with a random bonus in the middle of the wheel. I think so. Yeah. You are expanding the definition in an interesting way, and I think that's good. I think that's good that it's not limited to the way that I was limiting it. Let's see. Glow. Let's see. The dice you roll determine what resources points you get and also determine how much you move on the map. I think that's a little further away from the definition than what I'm looking for. Here we go. Pam says Verdant has Entangled drafting, but it's very similar to Cascadia. That's okay. That is similar. Thank you, Pam, for offering that. I still haven't played Verdant, but I need to. And let's see. Julie mentions Kohaku. You choose a fish and a feature that are adjacent to each other from a shared grid. Since the tiles are in a grid, you have some choices, but you find the best combo for you. That's perfect. Yeah, that definitely fits into this category. I haven't played Kohaku. Yeah, thank you, Julie, for that recommendation. Aaron says, Castles of Metkin Ludwig, the contact rooms eventually get discounted to the point where they are free or you get money back for selecting that room. So yeah, that is a little bit different with the coins being placed on the rooms. Now, should I price you choose? No, I guess you see what you're saying. You're pairing money with the tiles. You know, it is related. That is a different category of games. I think I've done a video about that sort of game, like the Century Spice Road thing, where certain cards accumulate tokens or money. But I think it's worth mentioning it. King Ludwig coins. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Hey, Steve says he got Stamp Shop and Apiary expansion. He wasn't planning on getting it, but he likes the price. Does Apiary expansion fit in the core box? Not only does it fit in the core box, it fits into the core insert. That was a big design decision in Apiary expanding the hive. We wanted to design an expansion that fit into the original insert. And so that was a big part of a design constraint for Connie to work around. Let's see. Michael has a question. He says, I pimp out almost every game right away with a 3D printed insert, but for fancier bits, it usually follows later for games that I really love rather than out of the gate. Joshua says something similar. I always wait to see if I like a game first, but metal coins are an easy buy-in before I know that. The nice thing about metal coins is that you can often use them for other games too. So, yeah, so compatibility, if it isn't specific to that one game, that can make a difference. Let's see. Zaptol says, would White Castle count for Entangled benefits? Because when choosing the die number, choosing the die color and number are important. I can see what you're saying there. I would say it's a little bit different because it's all combined into one thing. In that case being the die. That's more in the parity category, in my opinion. I see what you're saying, though, because the number itself is random. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to make a note of it. Why not? Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Chad says, what about Ra? Would Ra work for the Entangled benefit? Because you have multiple, when you win an auction in Ra, you win all the tiles that are available. Plus, actually, no, this is why it works for Ra in particular, because you're also winning the bidding tile, the previous bidding tile. So I think Ra does work for that. The bidding tile. Yeah. Good call on Ra, Chad. Sean just got the Stamp Shop Apiary expansion bundle plus 2 champion t-shirts plus a signed card. Awesome, Sean. Thank you for doing that. Sounds like I might have some more cards to sign after this. Yeah, thank you so much for doing that. And thank you for being a champion. I really appreciate that. Let's see. Cat Distractor has tons of examples today. Coinbra, you're choosing dice for the color and the number on the dice that do different things. So maybe I will mention the category of dice as part of this. I don't want to go too deep into dice because there's a whole different category of dice placement where the number and the color of the dice, or dice drafting and dice placement, where the color and the number of the die matter. Anthony says, what about Arc Nova has an ongoing benefit in the income phase, whether it's a 2-space encounter or snapping a card? Ongoing benefit, okay. 2-space encounter or snapping a card. That's true. I guess I'm looking for 2 different benefits that you get both of the benefits rather than a choice between 2 different benefits. But that might still happen in Arc Nova somewhere. I got to think about that a little bit. Edward says, in Splendor, when you get a gem and attract a noble on the same turn. Yes, not all turns in Splendor, but yeah, that can happen in Splendor. Jeremy mentioned Bonsai. The card is paired with tiles. Awesome. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'll make a note about that. I think I played that, but it's been a long time. Susanna mentions Ginkopolis. They're private. You gain tiles randomly, and you're drafting cards around the table, and you choose one combination of a tile and a card to play simultaneously. That's a good mention, though, Susanna. I think that's certainly related to this category, even though it's a private choice rather than a public one. So Johnny says, what's the original question about Entangled benefits? I'm just looking for games that use Entangled benefits or benefit pairings. With the classic example, modern classic example being Cascadia, where you have 2 different things that are randomly paired. Whenever you are choosing on your turn to gain stuff, you're gaining 2 different things that have been randomly paired together. But some people have mentioned some other related games to this category that I think are eligible too, or at least worth mentioning in the video. Favelas, whenever you choose the tile, depending on when you place it, you can also change the value of all tiles in the same color. I think it's adjacent to this category, Favelas. And Johnny says, Stamp Shop is not yet showing up in the Stonemaier Score app. So I thought it was there. But if it's not there yet, it should be there by the time you get your copy of Stamp Swap, because I think it was submitted to the App Store today. I thought I saw that it was accepted by the App Store today. That's why it's throwing me off a little bit. Tim says, do you think there will be a collection of promo realms for Rolling Realms that can be bought in a bundle for those who have the base game and Redux? My brother asked me this over the weekend. Tim, I appreciate you asking. I can say for certainty that will not happen. What we will do is whenever we release a new Rolling Realms realm, we will, like we're doing right now, we have 3 new realms: the Brass Birmingham realm, the Genotype realm, and the Stamp Swap realm, of course. Whenever we release a new promo realm, we will discount all realms by 10%. But because I think it would be a disservice to people who have already paid the normal amount for a realm, whether it's at a discount or not, that offering them at a bundled price in the future would not be respectful to those customers. So we won't be doing that. We definitely will not be doing that. We did a bundle last Christmas holiday season because we had a bunch of realms that we hadn't released yet. And so we released new realms as a bundle, but we won't go back and release old realms as a bundle. One other part of that I wanted to mention. Oh yeah, but also the champion discount also applies. So basically during any time that we launch a new promo realm, you can get the realm at a 10% discount plus the 20% Stonemaier champion discount. So you get effectively close to a 30% discount on it. Dave mentioned Small World. That is a great classic example, maybe even more classic than Cascadia of benefit pairings. In fact, Small World does 3 different types of benefit pairings because it pairs the fantasy race with their special power, and as you buy deeper into that row, you have to put coins on the ones that you pass over, and so you add a third type of benefit there. That might be the best example, Dave. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that one. Let's see. Cactus Tractor mentions Target. You get the benefits you place your tokens on, but also the benefit of where the tokens line up and across. I think that would count. I'll add Target to the list. And I need to play Target again. It's been too long since I've played that. Paul is joining us popping in for a minute to say hi. This is Paul, the designer of Stamp Swap, popping in to say hi about Stamp Swap. Paul, congratulations on Stamp Swaps. Thank you for choosing Stonemaier Games for this game. I'm really excited to launch it and to see it hit people's tables in the very near future, especially to see those gold foil tiles on the table. Anthony mentions in Ark Nova Marine Worlds, the coral reef benefit every time a marine animal is placed. I see. So it's related. It might be a little bit of a stretch to talk about that because there are lots, there's so many games with when played abilities, but that's just the ability of the card, not a separate benefit. It does feel like a double benefit, which is great because you're getting the card plus the benefit. Devil's Treasure mentions Planet Unknown has a type of benefit pairing. You choose tiles for both their shape. That's true. Yeah, I think Planet Unknown would count for this category. They aren't randomly paired. Why can't I spell unknown today? There we go. Unknown. But you are getting 2 benefits that are paired on a single tile in Planet Unknown. Cactus Tractor mentions Distilled. Yeah, so this is wonderful. You all have mentioned so many wonderful examples. I might pause on reading out the answers to this out loud for a minute, but I do really appreciate your answers on it. We'll move on to some other topics in a minute. Donna says, is the new champion t-shirt supposed to be on the new launch page? So Donna, the champion t-shirt is on our web store, but we didn't put it on the general launch page because we wanted champions to be able to have, to make sure we had enough for the champions. It is available for anyone to search for and find if you search for shirt. But the way to find it is if you click through the links on the champion email, it will take you to the collection that has the shirt. Another way to find it, I think, is to go to latest releases, and it should go there. Here, I will click through and find out if I can actually find it here. So I'll go to the US store. Here, I'll just show you. Why don't I just show you how to... So I clicked through it and went to latest releases. On latest releases, this is all it's all the new, brand new stuff. Stamp Swap, Apiary expansion. You have the new promos. You have the new disc off disc, and then other stuff that we released fairly recently. If you go to, what is the other collection then? I thought it was the latest releases, but it's not. It's the September launch, maybe? Whatever it may be. Let's see. If I type in shirt. You can see the new shirt. Right here it is. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the collection. I thought it was latest releases, but maybe it was something else. But yeah, if you type in shirt, you can see all the Stonemaier shirts that are available on our web store. You can get them now. Yeah. Thanks for asking about that, Donna. All right, so I'm going to move away from the first question of the day. Let's see. Peter says, are the player boards in Stamp Shop paper or cardboard? They're cardboard, but they're not thick card stock. Because they need to be thin for the stamps to be placed on them. And for mats this big, they will warp if they are thicker cardboard. So thinner cardboard actually results in less warping. Krista, I'll mention one more. Krista mentions welcome to for Entangled benefits. I think that does work too. I think that works. Yeah. I'll make one more note about that. Then let's move on to a different topic. But feel free to still post your suggestions for Entangled benefits and benefit pairings. Let's see. Sean says, is Stamp Swap shipping directly, or are you waiting on them to get to distribution centers? We have Stamp Swap and Apiary expansion in stock right now at all of our fulfillment centers. They are ready to ship to Stonemaier Champions right away. And then after the champion shipments have gone out, we will the fulfillment centers will also start shipping to everyone else. Yeah, to non-champions. Let's see. I am a little curious here. So the link that I used for the Stonemaier Champion email, I'm gonna click on it to see if it takes me where I meant for it to go. It does, yes. Yeah, so if you're a Stonemaier Champion and you got the Champion newsletter, if you use the links in that newsletter, it will take you to the collection that has, on our web store, that has the Stonemaier Champion t-shirt. The new t-shirt, yeah. And if you, Donna, okay, yeah, I want to highlight this, Donna. Thank you for saying this. If you place an order on our web store, and feel free, please take your time to place the orders. There's no rush. We have plenty of these products in stock. But if you place an order and you realize right afterward, shoot, I forgot to add something, or I need to make a modification, instead of placing a separate order, just email us at contact@stonemaier.com with your order number and what you need to change about it. And we can add stuff to that order, and you'll get a little invoice that you just click through and put in your credit card. It'll look legitimate. You'll know that is real. If it looks shady at all, let us know, and we'll confirm if it was real or not. But I would do that well over doing a double order, because we would like to ship those things to you together, and it will save you money, and it is less confusing for our fulfillment centers than them seeing two orders or having to cancel an order. So again, I'll say it, take your time with an order. If you do place an order and you realize you missed something, rather than placing another order, just email us your order number and what you want to change about that order or add to that order at contact@stonemaier.com. And we will fix it for you. Yeah. It may take a few hours because Joe and Dave are probably getting a lot of requests like that today, but it is totally okay for you to do that, and it isn't too late for you to do that. I see Pam mentioned Vinci as a game that was re-implemented as Small World. Thank you, Pam, for mentioning that. So let me mention one of the more controversial questions. I have two of them today. One, so I don't know if I'll do a blog post on both of these, but one came up when I watched a video from Paul Grogan. I forget the name of his channel. Someone can mention it out loud here. But Paul does playthroughs where he learns and plays games on his YouTube channel. He's a great content creator. He doesn't really do reviews. He does talk about his opinions about games, but he focuses on just like showing you how to play games, and he writes rule books and things like that. On his YouTube channel very recently, he talked about a bunch of different things on a video, and then he ended the video about a somewhat minor controversy, but a meaningful one for some creators. He talked about a content creator, who was deceiving and scamming publishers, in particular small publishers. This content creator, basically what they were doing was, and I'll say this briefly, I see some questions in the comments. I'll get to those questions in a second. This content creator was accumulating a large number of games from different creators who didn't know that this person didn't know the history behind this person. And this person was accepting review copies basically, and then going back to people and people who asked him, hey, like, why haven't you posted a review of the game that you said you were going to post a review about? And he would say, oh, I just have such a backlog of games, but I can move yours up to the top of this pile, this queue, if you pay me, which is super creepy, super shady. And then when these same creators, oftentimes small creators who spent a lot on these nice prototypes, went back to this person and said, I can't do that, can you just send the game back to me? He would not reply, or he would charge a lot. Anyway, really unfortunate situation that someone was doing this. And I actually didn't know that he was doing this. I have perceived this person as someone that I don't want to work with. So this is not someone who shows up on a review list, but I had no real facts about that. It's just, I didn't get a good vibe from them based on their behavior and the way that they posted about games online. So anyway, Paul's point, and the main point that I'm trying to decide if I should cover or not in the article, is not about this specific person. But Paul's point was, he, as a content creator, was aware of this person. He wasn't aware of how much they were hurting small creators. But he was aware that they were a little creepy and a little shady. But he hadn't posted about it because his perception to this point was that this person was not hurting anyone else. They were just not something that he vibed with. And I have noticed in the board game industry that sometimes people are quick to share controversies without the facts. That certainly happens. Or they don't share the full information about it or the full facts. It's either that happens, or someone like this kind of slips by under the radar for a long time that probably should have been highlighted before that, so that other people, and smaller creators in particular, were not hurt by this person. But they aren't highlighted because I don't, for whatever reason, they just slip under the radar. And so I'm trying to figure out, like, if there's an article to be written about how to share this sort of thing, and what you can share legally, like without the person then finding grounds to sue you for libel or slander, things like that. So that's the topic on my mind. As you can tell, I'm still working through exactly what to say about it, how to cover it, if there is a way to cover it. But overall, I did want to say that I appreciated the way that Paul covered it. He didn't even name the person in the video, but he did link to an article that a publisher had written about this person, a very fact-driven article about what this person was doing, so that anyone who watches Paul's video can then click through to that article and see what's going on. But I can see even Paul was hesitant to name this person in the video for various reasons. Thank you, Michael. Paul is known for gaming rules. Sorry for forgetting that. So yeah, that's the topic that I'm thinking about. If you have any thoughts about how I can cover that, or what your thoughts are when you think someone might be doing something that can hurt other people, how to present that information in a way that is responsible, I think. Yeah. And I really do mention this both ways, because I see people doing that in an irresponsible way at times, and I see it just fly under the radar. I see both aspects of it happening. So Ian, you and I, what is this guy's name? He's Simon Lavender from Amass Games. Yeah, you can check out Paul's video for the link to the article about this person and what they've done. Again, you will not see Simon show up, or Amass Games. You will not see him show up on any of the reviewer lists from Stonemaier Games. If Simon has bought any of our games, I guess he's able to review them like anybody else. But yeah, that type of behavior, as chronicled by this publisher that you can read about. Again, if you go to Gaming Rules, the most recent video, and you look in the description, you can find the link to all this. Yeah. And Cactus Tractor, yeah, says a good point here. Accusing other people of things is a scary thing, even if they clearly did it. It can bring a lot of bad things down on you. And yeah, that's why, in a way, I think you have to be beyond the point of accusing someone. You have to just say, here's what happened. Here's exactly what happened. Here are the full facts of what happened. And from what I can tell, my perception up to this point was that you cannot legally share emails exchanged between you and someone else without their permission. But I did a little digging into that, and I may be wrong about that. that it might actually be legal for you to share emails unless someone says specifically in the email you cannot share this, or that in their signature they say that this is private content that you can't share. Unless that is said, I think emails exchanged between two people are not inherently confidential. That is something that I've avoided in the past. I've avoided just posting someone's email, even if there's important information in that email, because in them sending me their email, I think there is some inherent privacy or controversy. But I wonder if that privacy goes away a little bit, or maybe completely, if someone is hurting other people. Like, that information maybe needs to come to light. Joshua says, would it be beneficial to make an article about navigating the difficulties of sending review copies to others? Don't bring up the individual, but get the word out that this needs to be talked about. Certainly, that's not exactly the topic that I was looking to cover, but Joshua, that may be a relevant article to write about, kind of the pitfalls that, and some of the things to think about when sending review copies. I generally do cover this when I post our annual article about how we work with reviewers, and I think that is anyone can use that same method if they want to. Softal says the problem is that a pattern of behavior has to be established. That's true. Yes. I think in general, I think the best way would be to ask trusted people in order to get confirmation. Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, people in the gaming industry are very accessible. It's very easy to reach out to someone else and to see if there is a pattern there. The one hesitation you're seeing from me there is that if someone really has hurt you or wronged you, and you do have the concern that they might do that in the future to someone else, doesn't matter if they've already done it to other people too, knowing that they did it to you. I think it's relevant for maybe how you post it, or maybe not. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to puzzle out right here. Michelle says, do I have a new mic? No, same mic as always. Well, not always. I got this mic maybe 5 years ago. It's been a while. Let's see. Austin says, Rodney from Watch It Play dealt with a similar situation last November after someone made reckless claims about him. I remember seeing that. I thought he handled it very well and professionally stated the facts. Yeah, definitely, I think, stick to the facts and give the full facts. I've seen far too many minor controversies that come and go because the facts weren't there or they were partially hidden, including some targeted at Stonemaier Games and myself, where people post very selective information rather than the full information. So I really appreciate when people post the full information, post the full thing. Yeah. Let's see. Carl Jobst, as an example from Cactus Chapter, he runs a great YouTube channel highlighting people caught cheating in computer game speedrunning, and even something like that has him getting sued. Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah. Zatal says, as for sharing emails, as long as it isn't copywritten or copyrighted or protected information, you should be in the green to share it. Yeah. I think maybe we still shouldn't be overly eager to share someone's private correspondence with us, but in the right circumstances, it's good to know that it is at least legal to do in the right circumstances. Chad says, I think it's important that they are called out by name. While Yelp can be abused, I think everyone's business should be up for review. It should be invaluable for publishers looking for reviewers. Definitely agree with that. Yeah. Frank says, one of the challenges is that the situation can be location specific, both for the offender and the victim. In this case, I believe the offender was UK based. They were. So the rules will likely be different being in the US or otherwise located. That's a good point, Frank. Yeah. How these laws are different in different regions of the world. That's a great point. Let's see. Here's another. So before I move on, thank you all for your thoughts on this. I will continue to think about it to see if there is an article. My intent for this article is not to highlight Simon Lavender. I'll say the name out loud. Simon Lavender, Amass Games. Yeah, you can read about it on Board Game Geek to see if he's the type of person that you want to work with. My article is not going to be about that. The article is about controversies in general and how can we uplift each other in a responsible way and try to act responsibly in situations where we're worried that someone else might be hurt by someone, especially someone who doesn't have the information that we have. I'll consider that. Thank you for your information about that and your thoughts about that. So Jonas's question is, will Wormspan make it to Nintendo Switch? So Wingspan is currently available. I think it even launched on, or the newest expansion, Oceania, not the newest expansion, the newest digital expansion launched recently on PlayStation, I believe. Wormspan, though. Wormspan, we are hoping will have a full digital version in the future across all platforms. When I have more information about that, I will let you know. Yeah. Is Wingspan on the Switch? Wingspan, I believe, is on the Switch. In fact, I would say I'm 100% sure actually that Wingspan is indeed on the Switch. The other topic I had, let me cover a few quick fun topics. I had a nice quiet Labor Day weekend. It was Labor Day here in the US. I did a lot of game testing. I did a lot of game design, and I played a lot of games. I played both some unpublished games, and I got to play Tangram City. I played just one. And actually, Pam is here. Pam is the designer of Blob Party. Pam, I had the least successful game of Blob Party that we've ever had. We all had fun, but we did not blob. People had a really hard time. I think it's a really interesting test of, and this isn't quite the right word, but I think Blob Party, it's a game where you're trying to write down the same thing as everyone else. I think it's a really good test for seeing how well someone is at putting themselves in someone else's shoes. Because it's a game partially about writing down something clever. But most of that cleverness comes with thinking, what are other people going to write down? And I think there's a little bit of empathy tied to that. It's an interesting empathy test almost to see when people really just aren't able to step outside of themselves and see what other people might be writing down. So we did not blob in Blob Party. I think maybe for the first time that I played that, but I had a great time playing it anyway. So we had a great time doing that. I'm reading right now a book about a novel called Thieves' Gambit, which is a little bit, it's about a competition for thieves. It's fiction. Obviously, I don't condone thievery and stealing things, but it's a fun read so far. And the show that I watched the most recently is I watched season 3 of Welcome to Wrexham and loved it. It's a delightful show. It continues to be absolutely incredible. Welcome to Wrexham season 3 there. My video this past Sunday was about my favorite games of all time as of right now. And actually, Blob Party, a lot of Blob Party mentions today. Blob Party was on that list. Stonemaier Games are not eligible for that list, but I do, of course, love Stonemaier Games. I just, for that, the biggest top 10 list, I don't think it's fair for them to be eligible for that list. And again, because I'll probably forget in a few minutes, right after this live stream, there's a live stream of Stamp Swap done by Man vs. Meeple. So in a few minutes, you can head over to their channel and check out their live stream of Stamp Swap if you'd like to see them play it. I need to make a note here. I agree that Rodney handled that really professionally too. And so I need to make a note about that if I do talk about controversies in games. Let's see. Yeah, Rodney. Okay, so here's the one other quick topic. We won't get too deep in it because I only have a few minutes left. But the other topic that's been on my mind a little bit since maybe just yesterday is that I watched a really interesting review from Board Game Co. A review that I really like. We send games to Board Game Co. I well before I sent him any games, I subscribed to his channel. I think he has a great channel about games. He starts off the video by reading an interesting comment that he saw a few days before he posted his review. This is a review for Cyberpunk 2077 or 2177, whatever the game is. Cyberpunk, the game is on Game Hunting right now. Someone posted a comment before the review saying, well, actually, I'll read the comment out loud. You can read what the comment says. Here's what the comment said to him. So here is someone talking about Board Game Co. I'm blanking on his name right now. So here's what the comment said. Said maybe, just maybe this is Board Game Co. Alex is the name. Maybe he will be the first creator not doing the near identical Emperor's New Clothes routine every other creator has done. I have never before seen a PR campaign where so many creators were given a prototype and they all said the same identical, utterly empty words of praise where the actual gameplay was borderline terrible, simplistic, and was only kept alive by the grand bling of the IP. So it is kind of clear what is expected and what is to be avoided articulation-wise. The similarities of what is said and the utter absence of any criticism speaks loudly, at least in my book. As you can tell from the way that I am reading that, I do not like that comment at all. I think it's really, really manipulative of someone to say that before someone is even posting their review of a game. And Alex starts out his video by saying, hey, I read this comment now I don't know what to do because I love this game. I really genuinely love this game, and I want to talk. I want to share what I love about this game and what I think other people may not like or what I don't like. I want to share an accurate review of this game. And I have this person in the comments who is saying something that, well, actually, Alex didn't say this is my opinion, saying something really manipulative, like as if Alex's opinion, they're trying to like shape the opinion before Alex even posted it. I don't know if I want to do an article about this, but it just really didn't sit well with me. It sits in that category of people who think that positive reviews aren't honest, that the only honest reviews out there are the ones that are negative, which I think is such a dark way to view the world, that the only relevant or honest things that people say are the negative ones. I don't like that at all. And so seeing a comment like that is not only that the spirit of this negativity, but also trying to manipulate a content creator to say negative things, even if that content creator doesn't feel negatively about the game, I think is the exact opposite of what we want from reviewers. We want unbiased opinions from reviewers, or we want them to share what they liked and what they disliked, the good and the bad, like whether the game was for them, whether it wasn't for them, who they think the game is for, who they think it isn't for. Both sides of it, I think, are really, really important. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I have an article about that, but I wanted to share that because it just really didn't sit well with me. And yeah. If you think there is something more to be said about it, let me know in the comments and maybe I'll explore it in an article. I have some fun comments here from various people. Chad mentions Blake Crouch announced that in this reality, there will be a second season of Dark Matter. Ooh, that's awesome. Dark Matter was one of the best shows that I've watched this year. Really, really great show from author Blake Crouch. Let's see. Steven says, just bought my copy of Stamp Shop. Thank you, Steven. Wondering if you've heard of Light No Fire from the makers of No Man's Sky. It has an uncanny resemblance to your upcoming Vantage. I did hear about Light No Fire. I'll leave this coming up on the screen. I did hear about Light No Fire in an unfortunate way, but I did hear about it a few months ago, earlier this year, when Vantage was kind of nearing completion. And I am excited about it. I'm very excited to play it. The unfortunate circumstances that I heard about it is that was when I don't know if you know, but my YouTube channel got hacked. And I really, all my things got hacked. All my personal email and everything tied to my personal email got hacked back in like March or February. And it got hacked because I was sent an email from someone who I thought worked at the company that makes No Man's Sky and Light No Fire. I'm forgetting the name of it. I thought it was someone from that company saying, "Hey, Jamey, we see you're working on this open world game. We are working on an open world game. If you want to check it out early, here's a link to check it out." And I clicked on that link, and that ruined my weekend because they took over everything. It was not someone from this actual company doing that. So that's how I originally heard about it, because I was like, oh, wow, that's awesome. Like, this game looks awesome. I know it's late in the design stages for Vantage, but maybe I'll learn something by playing this game. And I can talk about it on my YouTube channel. But lesson learned, yeah, should not have clicked on that link, opened the PDF. I think there was a PDF that I opened that did it. Yeah. Here are some comments about that comment that I just read. That comment says more about the commenter than the creator. I definitely agree about that. Joshua says, so many individuals these days seem to make up their own opinion about someone else, similar to stereotyping is not fair. I agree with that too. Yeah. Austin says, I saw the same comment and was so taken aback by it. Unfortunately, I feel like that comment impacted my view of the game without having watched any of the gameplay myself. And part of it, Austin, yeah, part of the thing that throws me off about the comment is the person is, in my mind, they are trying to get honest opinions from people, but in saying the thing that they said, they're manipulating their way out of actually getting honest opinions. And it's clear this person already has an impression about what the game is. So maybe they actually aren't even looking for opinions about the game. They've already decided that the game isn't good from the comment. They say that in the comment. They say, while the actual gameplay was borderline terrible, simplistic, and so on, that being their opinion, but not the opinion of the content creators. Austin says there was a similar disingenuous comment when you posted about Ark Nova a while back. Fortunately, I was not discouraged by that particular comment and thoroughly enjoyed Ark Nova after playing myself. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not even a reviewer. I specifically focus on sharing my favorite mechanism about games. And for Ark Nova, I had so many things to say that I did a full video about my top 10 favorite things about Ark Nova. Yeah. Garrett, thanks for popping in to say hi. He is getting 2 of each copy of Stamp Swap and Apiary, which you are welcome to do. Yeah, you can get multiple copies if you have people in your life that you want to share them with. Pam says, have I seen the movie Beekeeper with Jason Statham? It's about getting revenge on scammers. So satisfying on multiple levels. That movie was satisfying, Pam. I watched that, I think, after I was scammed, and it was satisfying to watch for that reason. And I also watched it because we have Apiary in our lineup, and I was like, oh, cool, movie about bees. Not really a movie about bees, but it is a movie about Jason Statham kicking some butt of some scammers. Johnny says, this reminds me of how both positive, negative reviews for Steam, games, albums, and other products before they even come out, not even from reviewers, just from people. It's a phenomenon I don't understand. Yeah, I talked about that a little bit recently, Johnny, in my video about where I was talking about every game in the Board Game Geek Top 100, where I was talking about the rating system and how it's always very odd for me that that some people feel comfortable rating a game before they actually play it. I get that people rate things for different reasons. Sometimes people are actually rating the creator of the game or the artist of the game, not actual gameplay. But I wish that the rating, that if they are doing that, that they could at least note it in their rating and say, hey, like, I'm rating this a 1. I haven't played it, but I don't like the art. And I don't want them to not like the art, especially for Stonemaier Games. But if that's the reason, at least that reason is out there rather than people just seeing a 1 rating and not understanding any context around that 1 rating. Aaron says, I doubt they're looking for true validation. They just want to spread negativity like a virus, similar to what you see on social media these days. Yeah, I think there's certainly that aspect of the internet of people who dig into the negativity, dig into the chaos. I can't relate to that, but it worries me because I think there is already a perception that that some reviewers are being, or even the perception that many reviewers are like being paid for their opinions, or that their opinions are they're only saying positive things. And I don't think if that is true in any way, and I actually don't think that many reviewers are being paid at all. I mentioned this in a comment on another channel the other day, or just this morning, that I have only in 12 years of Stonemaier Games, only once has any reviewer ever accepted a game from me and then later came back to me and said, hey, we're accepting payment now. We need a payment for this. That's only happened once. And we send thousands of review copies every year. But this manipulative approach, I don't like that either at all. Let's see. Hey, Steve says, I think the issue the commenter has in general is that many do not like CMON games and will post negatively given any opportunity, no matter how the game plays. Alex loves CMON, but admits he's a fanboy. And I think it's okay for reviewers to admit their own personal bias, to say, hey, like, I have a connection to this person or this company. Take that for what it will when you watch this review. And I think Alex actually does a superb job at that, in my opinion. Yeah. All right. Thank you all for joining me for these conversation topics today. I really appreciate that. And for joining me for Stamp Swap and the Apiary expansion. So excited about launch day today. I am excited for you to get these products in your hands within a few weeks. And yeah, I appreciate you all sharing your opinions and your questions. I really do appreciate that. So yeah, I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday, a wonderful week. I'll be back next Wednesday for more conversations about these games. And maybe by then you'll have even received your copy if you're still Stonemaier champion. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later. See ya.